Yes, come in. Good morning.
Good morning.
How was your day? Did you have a good week?
Yes, teacher.
Yes. All right. You know what I promised to tell you about today? Yes? You still remember?
Yes.
I said today we're going to have a class about writing. Because as you know, writing is a very delicate topic. And I know that a lot of students, when you give them a writing assignment, it's just a nightmare for them. It's just that they don't like to do it, but actually they don't know how to do it. And this is what really happens in the National English exam. A lot of students, because you know that there are 3 sections in the exam. There is the reading comprehension, there is grammar, and the 3rd section is writing. So some students, when they see the topic in the writing section, they are just astonished and they are really surprised. They don't know what to do, so they just leave their paper completely blank and they handed it in to the teacher. And this is completely wrong. The second group of students, they think that they are a little bit more intelligent, they are smarter. So because they have always memorized whole essays about topics that you studied this year, such as education, youth, environment, etc. And whenever they see a word from the topic that they have in their minds, they just copy down whatever they have in their minds. They copy it on the paper, and for them, they have done the job. Again, what do you think? Is it right or wrong? Of course, it's wrong. And there is a third group. A third group of students who actually, they do well. They write well, but the problem is that they make a lot of mistakes. So this is why today we're going to see how to avoid these mistakes in writing, and how to write a good and decent piece of writing, and how to write an essay. But before doing this, let me just give you an example how things work in real life. You know musicians? What is a musician? Is a person who plays what? Music. You know that musicians, these great people who perform, who make lovely music for us, they were not born good musicians. They have to repeat, they have to rehearse their piece of music many times before they can perform, before they can play in front of the public. And athletes, does anyone here practice sport?
Yes.
You practice sport?
Yes.
Right. Now, athletes, you know that athletes, they are professionals. It means there are competitions, the inter-competitions. These athletes, they have to work out hours and hours before they can really enter a competition. So why did they give you these 2 examples? Because you know that writers, people who write, it's like musicians and athletes. They have to work, they have to do things in what? In steps, in stages, before they come up with the last piece of writing. So they don't just think about the topic and start to write immediately, because they think that writing is a process. Writing should be done in steps, in stages. If you want to write in the same way, if you want to write a good essay, you have to think that you should do it in steps. You should do it in stages. You have to build your writing little by little. So today, our class is going to be, what is the title? Steps of Steps of good writing. And they hope by teaching you this and by showing you how things really work, you are going to be able in the future to write an essay, not only, by the way, in English, but also in French and in Arabic and in any language, because it can work for all the languages. Right. We're not going just to talk, so we're going to practice on 2 topics that we have here. 2 topics which I think would make it clear how things work out, how things work in this topic, steps of good writing. So who's going to write number 1? Yes, go ahead, Amina.
Public transportation play a vital role in city life. Explain.
Yes, public transportation play a vital role in city life. Explain. Right. Number 2.
Write an article about the richness of Moroccan culture.
Right, fine. Suppose you have to write in one of these topics. What is the first thing you are going to do? You read the topic and you have a limited time and you want to write an essay. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind? What is the first step that you are going to do?
You underline.
Right, you underline. It's not a bad idea, it's good, but what do you underline? That's good. What do you underline? Do you underline every single word in the topic?
No.
No. So what do you underline?
The word who can give you.
Yes, let's call it the key words, the most important words. Right. So, Erdwan, in the first topic, what are, in your opinion, the most important words that we have to underline?
We have public transport.
Right. Public transportation.
Play a vital role, sir.
Right, so we're going to say vital role. What
And,
else?
Explain.
That's good, yes. And
Explain.
explain. Fine. I'm not going to give any comment. Before we are done with the second one, so what are the words that we are going to underline in the second topic? Yes, Omar?
Moroccan culture.
Right, Moroccan culture.
Riches of
And of course, what?
Riches.
Yes, and the article. Is that all?
Right, I'm not checking.
Right, so you see, you have already done the first step. So what is the first step in your opinion? The first step, this is what we call, what did you do? Yes, you define the question
And analyze this task.
So the first step when you have to write a piece of writing, an essay, is to define the question and to analyze the task. To define the question, analyze the task, of course, how? What you gave me already is very good. We are going to use, as you said, we are going to use this technique. We are going to underline it. What are we going to underline? Public transportation, what is this? This is the
general
idea.
right. This is what we call, we underline what?
topic.
We underline good. We underline the topic. What else? Yes, a vital role. You know that public transportation is a very general topic. But why did we underline vital role? So, vital role, yes?
It is important.
Yes, it's very important. That's good. It means in my essay, I am going to show that public transportation have what? Yes. I am not going to talk about public transportation in the past, public transportation in the future, or public transportation in China. I'm going to talk about what? The vital role in city life. So, vital role, this is what we call
Point of the essay.
right.
Of essay.
It's very important. This is the point of the essay. Because you know, what is an essay? What is a good piece of writing? A good piece of writing is a piece of writing in which you try to convince people of an idea. You persuade them, you show them with details, with examples, that an idea is correct. And this is the idea. This is the most important idea that you want to convey, that you want to tell people, that public transportation play a vital role. So you write about public transportation, but this is exactly what you write about. How do they play a vital role? This is what we call public transportation. And here, vital role. So you see, AB, we have defined the question. Now we're going to do what? We're going to analyze the task. It means, what am I going to do in this writing? So the task is what? I am going to explain. Right. So this is the task. Here it's
Explain.
so when you have this word here, this little word explain, what type of essay are you going to write? Are you going to write an argumentative essay?
No.
No, of course. So what type of information you are going to give here? Are you going to give different opinions about the topic? What do you think? Are you going to give arguments, different ideas, different opinions? You are just going to explain. It means you give more what? More?
Example.
Yes, more details, more examples. So the essay is going to be called what we call what?
Essay.
You are going to write an expository essay. It means an informative essay. So this is the first type. Right, but sometimes in a topic you can have other words. Of course you can have explain, but sometimes this is what you have. Sometimes you have discuss. If you have discuss here, what does it mean? Are you going to give more information? So discuss, it means you give different what? That's good, you give different opinions. So what type of essay are you going to write? An essay in which you write about different arguments. This is what we call an argumentative essay. Right. Argumentative essay. If you have, yes, if you have, for example, describe. Yes. Descript, yes?
Descriptive.
That's good, yes. You are going to write a descriptive essay. Describe, it means you tell us about what you are seeing or what you are hearing. Anything that you feel with the five senses, you tell us about them. This is what we call a
Description.
descriptive essay. If you have tell, for example, let's say last summer you spent holiday in a Moroccan city. Tell us about this holiday. So here, I'm not asking you to write an expository essay, neither an argumentative nor a descriptive. It's that's good, yes. This is what we call the narrative. So you see, it's very important to pay attention to the last, to the verb. This is what we call the task. It means what type of essay you are going to write. But there is a problem here. Write an article about the richness of Moroccan culture. What is the topic here? Yes, Omar?
Moroccan.
The topic, what is the topic?
Moroccan culture.
That's good, Moroccan culture. This is the big topic. But what is the point of the essay?
The richness of
The richness, that's good. It means you are going to show the readers, you are going to tell him about what makes our culture rich. You are not going to compare our culture with another culture, or you're not going to talk about, for example, different types of cultures. You are going to show with details and examples how Moroccan culture is rich. But what is the task? We don't have a verb which tell us what to do here. So what, in your opinion, just to make it simple, what type of essay do you think you are going to write here?
Descriptive.
You see, descriptive, I told you. Descriptive, you tell us about what you are seeing, what you are hearing, what you are touching. So this is descriptive. But here we are going to give more what?
Explain.
More information. So what type of essay is it going to be?
Narrative.
A narrative, you talk about the past. Explain. So, yes, Omar, you're right. It's going to be expository because you're going to explain.
more example.
Sure, yes. You are going to explain to us why Moroccan culture is rich. You are not going to give different argument. Is it rich or is it not? You are just going to explain why is it rich. So you see here, even if we don't have explicitly the verb, we can understand it. We can understand that the type of essay is an expository essay. Fine. We are done now with the first step. So the first step, underline, define the question, and analyze. Now when you are finished with underlining, what is now the second step in your opinion? Are you going to start writing now? What do you think? Do you start writing right away? Do you start with the introduction and you start? So what is the second step in your opinion?
Write ID.
Yes, Omar?
Write ID.
You write?
The ID.
Yes, why not? How are you going to write ideas? What ideas are you going to write? So it's
General
a good...
ideas.
Yes, yes?
General ideas.
General ideas, it's not bad. Yes, we can write some general ideas. So this is why the second step of good writing, let's call it...
Collocation.
Location.
Yes.
Connection. ID.
Collecting ideas. What ideas am I going to collect and how am I going to do this? So this is what we call, I am going to do this using what we call brainstorming and mind mapping. I know that these words are a little bit difficult, but let me explain them very simply. Brainstorming, it means that you think about any ideas which have a relationship with the topic. That's all. Any ideas, for example here, any ideas which are related, which have a relationship with the richness of Moroccan culture, you just think about them and write them. This is what we call brainstorming. Mind mapping. When you think about the ideas, you have to write them in a sort of diagram. For example, this is what we can do. We can write a diagram like this. This is what we call this little insect who have a lot of legs, we call it a spider diagram. So when you think about the ideas, you have to put them on a paper. This is what we call a map or a spider diagram. And what do you write here in the middle? Moroccan. For example, we can write here Moroccan culture. And the ideas. Any ideas which show me that Moroccan culture is rich. Now, come on, this is what I'm going to tell you to do now. Listen, you are going to have 1 minute. I want you to draw this spider diagram and write whatever ideas you can think about and which have a relationship with the topic, Moroccan culture. Now, give me your ideas. What did you find? How can you show that Moroccan culture is rich? What can we talk about to show it?
For example, the music.
That's good, yes. For example, I can talk about what? Various types of... I can show that our culture is rich because there are various types of music and they can talk about these various types. What else? Yes?
Tradition.
That's good, yes. Traditions, because again, what makes our culture very rich is that we have lots and lots of traditions to talk about. Traditions and habits and customs. What else?
Clothes.
Clothes, good, yes. I can show that our culture is rich. I'm going to talk a little bit about how the way people dress in our country. For example, people in the north, people in the south, yes. People in the middle of the country, and also the difference between the past and the present. So you see, it's very rich. Yes. What else? Yes, Ardwan? Languages. Why not? I'm going to write languages. I'm going to write language. No problem. Yes. Celebrations. That's good. What do you mean by celebrations? Celebrations, you know that in Morocco we observe a lot of celebrations.
And festival.
Yeah, pardon me? Celebration. What type of celebration can we have? We can have religious celebrations. We can have national celebrations.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about this richness of our celebrations. What do we do in celebrations? What type of activities do people do? What are the customs? What are the types of food and drinks people have on these days? And also what type of gifts people exchange on these days? So you see, it's very rich. We can talk about celebration. What else?
Just food.
Right, that's good. Yes, Umar. You're thinking about a good topic, which is actually there is a lot to be said about our food. You can talk about different what?
Dishes.
Different dishes. You can talk about couscous, about tagine. You can,
Tagine.
yes, you can talk about different dishes, and you can show, for example, which parts of our country eat this type of food and which eat that type of food. You see, actually, it's the examples. You see how many ideas now we can make just by using this diagram? But when you have these ideas, what are you going to do in your opinion? Are you going to talk about all these ideas in your writing?
No.
It's too much. So you can just keep, for example, what are your favorite? What can you talk about? If I ask you to just pick up 3 ideas, what would you pick? Which ideas do you think we can give more information about them? They are rich, we can write about them. For example, we can write about what?
Food.
Yes, that's good. We can write about food.
Celebration.
That's good. Yes, excuse me. Celebrations.
And language.
Tradition.
And yes, why not? Traditions. So you see, because we are not going to talk about everything, I'm going to choose this and I'm going to drop these. Now, the same thing for the second topic. This is another example. In the middle, I wrote public transportation. And around this topic, you see I have different general ideas. But you have to tell me, which ideas do you think are related, are good, we can keep them, and which ideas we have to drop them, they are not good for the essay. For example, public transportation teaches patience. Yes or no?
Yes, teacher.
Do they teach patience? No. Yes, but listen, when you keep a general idea, it means that you have to explain it. What details are you going to, how are you going to explain this? Public transportation teach patience. What do you think? Is this something specific or very general, teach patience? It's very general, and you see, I can't give more details about this. So I have to drop it, so I'm not going to keep it. Ensures safety. It means they are very safe and secure. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, of course, I'm going to keep this. They save money.
No.
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Now, I want to show you this. For example, if you are using your car and you have, for example, you have to pay the highway, you have to pay, for example, for parking your car, and you have to pay petrol, you have to pay taxes. But when you go on the bus, you just pay 3 or 4 dirhams and that's all. So which is more expensive? Is it to have your private car or using public transportation? Right, it means that this idea is good, we can keep it, saves money. Improves the world, makes the world a good place to live. Improves the world.
No.
Yes, I agree with you, but why don't we keep it? It's very general. Improves the words. I just can't imagine what ideas I'm going to write to explain this. That's very general. So I'm not going to keep it. I'm going to drop it.
It's expensive.
Is very expensive.
No.
What do you think? Is very, are they very expensive?
No.
Do you pay a lot of money when you get on the bus?
No.
No, of course, they are not very expensive. I don't know what you are talking about, but riding the bus, getting on the bus, traveling by bus, it's not like traveling by car.
Yes.
If you go, for example, from Casablanca to Marrakesh by car, it costs you at least 250 dirhams. But if you go by bus, how much will it cost you? About 60 or 70 dirhams.
No.
So it's, they are not expensive, right? Improves air quality.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, it's very simple. Think about this. When we have less cars in the street, what will happen? The air Is it going to be cleaner or dirtier? It's going to be cleaner because we have less cars. When people don't use their cars and take the bus, how many cars are going to run in the street? A lot or just few cars?
A lot.
No, few cars.
Few, yes.
You understand me? This is, I'm going to make it clear for you. For example, imagine every one of us has a car, okay? Imagine if I take my car, you take your car, we all take our cars and drive in the street. The air is going to be clean or dirty? Very dirty. But if we stop using our cars and take the bus, every one of us takes the bus, it means that the air is going to be clean because we don't use our cars. Because you understand that cars, it means a lot of carbon dioxide. You study this in physics, okay? Because they give off a lot of harmful smoke and toxic smoke. But you know that buses, trains, and taxis, when you use them, so this is what happens. They improve air quality. Do you want to add another idea to this? Let me give you another example. When people don't use their cars, what will happen? The streets, are we going to have traffic jams in the streets? When only few people use their cars, so the streets are going to be okay. Everyone can drive in the streets. But if every one of us uses his car, so the streets are going to be full of cars and we are going to have traffic jams. So if we use public transportation, so public transportation, what do? They reduce what? They reduce traffic what? Congestion. It means we don't have a lot of frequent traffic jams. It's very simple. When you see, just imagine, I would like to imagine this one day, only public transportation is running. Are we going to have any traffic jams? Very rarely. That's good, yes, very rarely. But if everybody is using his car, it's going to be like hell. It's going to be like, I don't know, it's going to be a traffic jam for hours and hours. You can see for yourself. For example, what happens at 12 o'clock, what happens at 6 o'clock. In Casablanca, there are a lot of traffic jams. But if people just choose not to use their cars and use public transportation, we're going to do what? To reduce traffic jams. Okay, so let's have a recap. So what is the first step that you do?
Define the question.
Define the question, yes, Radwan, and?
Define and analyze the question.
Analyze the task. How are we going to do it? We?
Underline.
What do we underline?
The
topic.
And
The point of the essay and the task. That's good. After that, what do? We collect ideas. How do we collect ideas? Brainstorming and mind mapping. You can use what? A spider diagram. What do you write in the middle of the spider diagram?
the general idea.
The topic. And
yes.
around, you write the general ideas. But these general ideas you have later on to just choose some of them. Write the things on the board and we can go on after that. Right, fine. So we said that the first stage is define the question and analyze the task. We underlined the point of the essay, the topic, and we are done with this. Then the second stage or the second step, this is what we did. We just draw a spider diagram and we write all the ideas which have a relationship with the topic. Fine. Now, what is now the next step in your opinion? We have our ideas and we want to start writing, but is it time for writing yet? Can we start writing immediately now? Or do we have to do something else before we really start to write? What is the next step in your opinion? Now we have ideas. But when you have ideas, you have to, of course, you have to choose the order of ideas, and you have to do what? To organize your ideas. So the third The third step, I'm going to call it C, is what? It's how are we going to organize ideas? It's very simple. We are going to use this technique. We are going to use what? Outlining. What is outlining? Outlining means to make a plan. This is my plan. What ideas am I going to keep? What ideas I'm going to drop? And the ideas that I am going to keep, in what order I am going to talk about them. So of course, when we say an outline, what do we do in an outline? How do we make a plan? Remember, our topics were public transportation and richness of Moroccan culture. In order to make a plan, it's very simple, an outline. So of course that in the national, let's talk about the national exam. They give you two types of papers. One paper which is colored, it can be yellow or green or red. This is what we call the drafting paper. This is where you write all the time before you copy on the real exam sheet. So this is what you do. You take this draft paper, this is the paper like this, and in the middle of the page, you write the title. For example, let's say public transportation. After you have written the article, after you have written the title, this is what you do. You are going to use Roman numerals. 1, 2, 3, and right, and 4. And next to each Roman numeral, what do you write? You are going to write your general ideas. That's good. So what is the first general idea that we found? Ensures safety. The second one, what was it? What was the second general idea? Remember the spider diagram. So we had what? We had?
Save money.
Yes, that's good. Saves money. The third one. Reduce what?
Reduce
Yes.
Traffic congestion.
Reduces
Traffic congestion.
traffic
Congestion.
congestion. And the fourth idea, improves air quality. Improves air quality. You see, so next to each Roman numeral, what do I write? I write the general ideas. When I write what? When I write the Roman numerals, all the Roman numbers. And you see, so although I don't have a lot of space here, but on the paper, this is what you do. You have to spread them apart. You have to leave some space between numerals. Why? Because we are going to write again, we are going to write A, B, and C. A, B, and C. And here, A, B, and C. And next to these letters, what do we write? Are we going to write general ideas again? No, we're going to, because we have our general idea. So we need to do what? We need to give more what? More information about the general ideas. So A, B, and C, we're going to write what? Details. Because if this is my general idea, I need to explain it. For example, let me just give you an example. If we say public transportation, what do you mean by public transportation? We mean trains, what else? Buses and taxis, okay? So trains, buses, and taxis. For example here, we can write that public transportation, for example, buses. Buses nowadays, are they small? Are they small or large?
Large.
They are wide and they are strong.
Strong.
And is it dangerous to ride a bus, to travel in a bus nowadays? So it means that public transportation are what? Are wider, stronger, and more what? And more and more secure. It means they are safer, they are not dangerous anymore. So you see, this is one of my what? One of my details. Also, another example of a detail. People who drive, people who operate, people who drive, for example, buses, are they people who have just begun driving, or are they are professionals?
They are professional.
They're of course professionals, right? Professional drivers are well what? Are well trained. Are well trained to avoid what? To avoid. Are they going, if a person is a professional driver, is he going to have a lot of accidents?
No.
No. So professional drivers are going to avoid accidents and problems. You see, what am I giving here? I'm giving more details. So next to each letter A, B, C, you write more details. This is just an example. Now, of course, when you sit down and think about the details, you can have more and more details. But why did they just write 3? Of course, you can write 4 or 5, okay? But let's say this is a good number, this is a decent number, you can write 3 details. And of course, details, we can write details, and it's a good idea to give
Examples.
to give examples. For example, we'll say public transportation. For example, we can say, for example, buses are wider. So this is my detail, but when I say, for example, buses, it means I am giving what? I am giving an example. So you see that examples, they are like it's the spice. Because when you eat a salad without salt, without pepper, it's not tasty. So if you want to make your piece of writing tastier, so you have to sprinkle it with more, you have to provide more examples. Fine. So this is how I make my outline. And remember, when you have your plan, when you have your outline, it's okay. You can start to write now. So the next stage, so this is C. The next stage, D, you are going to start what?
First reading.
Yes, that's good. Thank you. This is what we call the first writing. So next stage is going to be the first what? The first writing, or I'm going to call it what? Drafting. And remember, drafting, it means we are not writing on the final exam sheet. We are just writing on the draft paper. The draft paper, because the draft paper is not the paper that you give to the teacher. It's only that the paper where you can correct your mistakes and you can see if you have made any problems. So you are going to write just in the draft paper. No, because the first writing, in the first writing you are going to test your plan to see if it's working, and you are going to test also your structure. And because once you have a draft, then you can correct mistakes and you can come up with a good piece of writing. Right. Let's talk about when we say the first writing. The first thing I'm going to think about is my what? So what is the structure of an essay? What is the first thing we write in an essay?
An introduction.
That's good, yes. Amina, first we write the introduction. I know that a lot of students, this is what they think. They think that an introduction, it's always a definition of the topic. Is this a good idea to give a definition of the topic? No. So how are we going to write? So what are the things that we are going to write in an introduction? Because the introduction is the most important thing in a topic when you write an essay. So in order to show you how things work in an introduction, I have